Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Restaurant News Chapter 2 Networking Meeting. We are a group of vendors in the restaurant industry who are here to help each other in our business and to help any restaurant that might have a problem or an issue that they can't seem to solve. We have experts in all fields in the restaurant industry, and if we are not, we know people who are, who can help you. So please feel free to give us a call if you'd like to attend any of the meetings at 561-620-8888, or go to our website at trnusa.com, and our YouTube page is Today's Restaurant, and this meeting will be on that page. We are coming to you live and in person from Nashville today, and it's a dreary, cold day here in Nashville. Yesterday was beautiful, and thank you all for coming. So to go back to the off-camera conversation, John, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got a call.
Okay, that's fine. You available now?
No, he put himself on mute.
Okay. Well, had an interesting, not an experience, but I saw an interesting piece of equipment yesterday. You know, we always talk about the future of the industry with automation becoming so popular. We were staying at a hotel on the way up and went down for breakfast, and there was a machine on the counter on the buffet, and it was no more than, I would say, 24 inches, maybe 30 inches from left to right, and maybe 12 inches from front to back. And it was an automatic pancake maker. And I have never seen any machine like that before. And, you know, you see the waffle makers at a lot of hotels on the buffet where you have to pour in the batter. This machine, all you did was you walked up to the machine, and in the lower left-hand corner, you waved your hand over this sensor, and that started the machine. And you wait 60 seconds, and it looks like there's a conveyor belt inside, but you don't see anything moving. And 60 seconds, a silver dollar pancake plops out, and then another one. I don't know how many came out. I think it was 2 or 3. But I want to tell you, people who were guests were standing around watching that machine work. So I took a chair and I sat down in front of the machine because it was kind of low, and I videoed the whole thing. I can't get it onto my, I would show it to you now, but I'm going to put it on, I'll put it on YouTube, and you can look, or I'll put it on our Facebook page. But it was really interesting. And it was not made by a company that I had ever heard of. So that's it. Pop, what?
Pop cake. C-A-K-E.
Pop Sync?
Pop cake. C-A-K-E.
Oh, Pop Cake. Pop Cake. So look for that as you, and things like that. So how do you think, what's going to happen with the impact of automation? That's a simple, I don't know how much the machine costs, but it's, even on a buffet, automation is coming in.
Was there only one machine on the buffet?
One machine.
So I got if I got 4 people in front of me, I got to wait 4 or 5 minutes before I can even get up there.
Well, you know what? I said that to somebody when they did it. This little silver dollar pancake plopped out, and I said, "That's a long time to wait for a little pancake." Yeah. But it was the novelty of it. You know, people were really really interested in seeing it.
Yeah,
They'll probably have to revise it till they get bigger pancakes.
I want to say, I think I've seen that before.
You have?
It sounds familiar because. there's
It's
something-
not the waffle. This is
No.
pancake.
Right, a little
And
pancake.
you don't have to put the batter in. That was the
Oh,
big
this one,
difference.
the one I remember you had to put the batter in, but it did it all other than that.
Yeah, this one, the batter, it seemed like the batter was preloaded.
Could be, yeah.
Could be plastic. I have no idea.
Well, I was gonna say it's probably because it's an easier thing to do than the waffle maker, because how many times you seen kids go up and do these things at the hotels with the waffle, and that stuff is just everywhere, and and you get these kids can get burned because of these things. But I
Well,
think it's probably it's you just press a machine and get a pancake or whatever, versus having to get the batter from the dispenser and then pouring it, and then you make your waffle. But whatever. But yeah.
I think for those of you who live in Florida, I think 2J's, they don't have pancakes. So they can add that machine and serve pancakes. Just very, very weird. Brian, you can finance them.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try to get everybody a copy of that movie. It was interesting. And when I pulled my chair up to the machine to video it, everybody started coming back to see who is this guy? who takes videos of a pancake machine? So Terry is telling everybody, "Oh, we're in the industry. We have to." Now they're asking for autographs. It's crazy.
Did you charge for the autographs?
Pete the pancake. All right. We prior to the meeting officially starting, we were talking about an incident that happened to John, and I think that what happened to John is happening to a lot of people. And from what he said, and from what we said, I learned a lot in a very short period of time. And Chris wasn't here for the conversation, and nor was our audience. So I really like John just to briefly, don't go into details, but just, tell us what happened, and then maybe we can discuss it a little bit, because I think it's important for everybody out there who's in business.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. John Longobardi, Global Telecom Consultants. You can reach me at 954-664-9500. And last Thursday, I received a text message to my phone asking me if I had made a charge for like $589. Reply yes or no. And then it said my bank. I replied no. They said somebody will call you shortly. This person called me from the Space Coast Credit Union phone number, because I know the phone number because I've used it in the past. So somehow they're spoofing the number and basically, asked me to verify some things in my account. I did. They happen to be charges, so they were obviously in my account already. They told me that they saw that there were some wire transfers being taken out, but that they were going to stop it, change my account numbers, cards, and send all that out. They called me back the next day, told me all of it was taken care of. I should receive it in 5 business days. Then on Monday, I logged into the account, noticed that it wasn't closed. So I went to the bank, and that's when I realized that it was a scam. The bank told me that it was something that was happening a lot, that they were well aware of it. And I went through the process, followed a police report, went on the FBI's website also to take note. And the way that they're able to get away with it is they have another account that the person doesn't even know the money is being transferred into that account, because it goes right in there and goes right out. And then they keep moving it around and buying cryptocurrency and gift cards and all kinds of different things, so that it never gets traced back to who's actually doing it. So it's pretty clever. And I'm probably a pretty smart guy, and I'm in the technology space. So I never thought it would happen to me. And It did. So lesson learned, but you know what? Thank God the FDIC insured, and hopefully I'll have my money back soon.
So what is the average business owner or consumer? How do you protect yourself? I know John had some Kevin has some suggestions there.
Yeah, and like we talked about before, I mean, the number one way is you have to be extremely diligent in how you respond to anything today, whether it's phone calls, whether it's emails, whether it's text messages. So just being an educated consumer, an educated business owner, first and foremost. But so just like we were talking, well, you guys were talking, just from January to February, there's a 45% increase in ransomware attacks. Cyber insurance companies have changed policies because this year alone, 50% of businesses who have cyber insurance have already used it. A lot of people who, especially in the restaurant sector, we find this a lot. They think that because they're PCI compliant, because they're merchant, or maybe if they're a franchise, that corporate protects them against PCI compliant in the event that there's a fraud perpetrated against them or some type of attack, and they're not. So I mean, it's just a really dangerous world to live in right now with respect to everything that happens. So, but the number one way you're going to protect yourself is you've got to educate, and then you've got to find the tools to surround your business and your bank accounts. Because you're right, Howard. Right now, the last I heard, it's like one of the number one as far as overall business. It's one of the number one generating businesses straight across the board. So it's real money. It's a real business, and it's not just joy in the basement anymore. It's just back in the days, it's just like mafia is controlling, and it's global. That's the other thing, that it's not just coming from the United States. This is a global threat that we face every day. So finding somebody that can help you get your arms around it it's just critical. It's important. And you can't stop it. It's not if. In a lot of cases, it's just a matter of when. So it's like, how are you protected? And so that's I would just encourage everybody to make this a priority for your business and for your personal accounts. Just like you have fire or homeowners insurance and car insurance and commercial insurance, you need to have a number of different piece parts in place, whether it's a company that provides you like LifeLock, like I said, even cyber insurance. We all know if we ever had an insurance claim that insurance companies are here to make money. And so you got to really understand your insurance policy too, and understand what they require you to have in order for coverage to pay out, because they have a lot of ifs, ands in their verbiage, whether as it relates to what they're going to pay and what your responsibility is. So
To take that one step further, in regards to cybersecurity, last year, cybersecurity insurance companies paid out more money than they ever have for ransomware. So what's happening this year is organizations are having to pay higher premiums, and if they don't have certain protections in place, they're not getting the discounts that they need for their organization. So there are companies out there, obviously Kevin, who can monitor this and protect organizations and have these solutions in place. We do something similar to that, but we don't want to, kind of cross that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it at that. But I just wanted to elaborate a little bit further on that. So I'm very familiar with cybersecurity as well, but I was also interested in, what you said, and you hit the nail right on the head, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin, from your experience, what are some of the items that people are looking for to have you put in place for insurance purposes? Or what are the insurance companies requiring people to have?
yeah, I mean, actually, it's an extensive list, and it's also checks and balances. So there's a lot of things that you have to have in place just from a network standpoint, right? There's certain requirements, but there's also procedures. You know, where do you keep, like, actually most threats, like even employee, like theft, a lot of times it's not coming from the outside. A lot of times it's coming from a disgruntled employee, or, you know, where they're capturing a customer's credit card information. So, you know, there's a lot of things you have to have internally that, like, they're going to come in and say, hey, are you doing this, this, and this, and this? But also you have to prove, like, hey, when's the last time you had a threat analysis done? Meaning somebody comes in that you hire and, you know, tries to show you all the places in your network that you have holes. So they require a lot of that. They're like, hey, when's the last time you changed passwords? How are you keeping passwords? So there is a lot of things. And again, it's going to vary by insurance company, but they're to John's point, they're you know, and as I said, they're in the business to make money. And when they start paying out more than they're making, you can rest assured that they're going to put things in place that make it more difficult and more stringent for you to be able to use that policy to cover loss. But then that's just one aspect of it, right? Because if you are in the situation where you're actually exposing customer data, right? Now you're getting involved with the SEC. Now what is happening, the SEC has come out in the SEC and making, like, if you're the person responsible for cybersecurity organization, you are now being held personally responsible. So I haven't seen how that's playing out yet in the courts, but that just came out. So it's, like I said, the more accelerated this is getting, the more changes that are going to be happening from a regulatory standpoint, from this insurance company shifting more and more responsibility over to you even as an individual, but specifically as a business owner. So it's just, you just really got to be aware of what's happening. You can't keep your head in the sand anymore.
Yeah. Answer, you know, to what Kevin was talking about, you know, I think, like he's talked about insurance, as you can see, you know, way things are with the economy right now, you know, people's credit has dropped, people get desperate, people don't, you know, like, for instance, like car insurance in Georgia, my insurance went up about $190 a month, just because people are, well, it's basically in the 5 counties. Okay. And what happened is people don't have money to pay for their car insurance, and they're driving around as uninsured motors and things like that. So a lot of things that comes into play, like, you know, that insurance. And then, you know, and plus, you know, I do financing, and I see people's credit are just crap. And I think people are getting desperate, and just, you know, people doing stupid stuff and just trying to find a way and take advantage of somebody else to make a few bucks somewhere here and there.
Brian, I think Georgia is just catching up to South Florida, because I think South Florida is one of the highest places in the country where you have uninsured motorists running around. So,
Yeah.
Or underinsured,
or underinsured, yes.
because the accident that we were involved in December, the guy who hit us only had $25,000 of coverage,
Oh,
and that's way low.
yeah.
You know,
And Howard, you want to
Florida-
know, when you have an uninsured or an underinsured motorist,
yes.
that's when those TV lawyers start coming into play, because they're going to take you for everything else. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, up here we have, I'm Brian, I don't know if you have Alexander Shannara there, and
I've heard of him. Yeah.
but I mean, you know, let me be your attorney, and they'll just take you for everything you got. You know, my PNC agent, he said, you need 100, 300, 100.
No
period,
question.
across the board.
Yeah.
No question.
And then we have here the strong arm, and then we have Ken Nugent. One call. That's all. Chris would know that, right?
I remember him.
I keep calling, they never answer.
I don't understand how a company, like, for example, I'm not picking on LifeLock, but how does a company like LifeLock, how do they stop anybody from hacking you or getting.
Guys, it's not a matter of stopping. So, like, if you guys don't have, it's a general, just for everybody. I mean, you should have freezes on all your credit reports, right? So that anytime somebody's going to try to access anything related to your account information. So, like, I have all my social media accounts. I have every credit card. I have everything that could possibly title to your home. All those things are things that are being utilized for criminal activities. So they don't prevent it. And like I said, you can't prevent it. The position you have to be in is a proactive position. So it's a matter of mitigation. It's a matter of awareness. Because here's what these guys will do. They will, once they gain access. So, and it could be this. A lot of people say, I have everything in the cloud. I'm okay. That's just not true. If anything in your world has an IP address, you're exposed, period. You go into Starbucks and you access their Wi-Fi, and somebody who's already in there, and we call them threat actors, is sitting there on their network. You've just opened up your device to them. And they will sit on your network for a year, 2 years. They learn everything about your business, your deposits, your passwords, where you're, oh, I take everything off in the cloud, so it's safe. Not true, because they now have access to, your OneDrive, to your Dropbox, whatever you're doing, right? And at some point in time, they know how much money you have in a bank account. And so when at the opportune time, they will shut you down, and then this is a form of ransomware, and then demand certain amount of monies. But it wasn't a client, but I'm aware of the story. 2 doctors, just a small doctor's office practice in Midland, Michigan, ransomware, and they got everything. These guys had nothing. They ended up shutting down their practice, right? So a lot of times people think, well, it's only the big guys. And here's what I tell people: listen, if the United States government can be hacked, got to tell you something, right?
Mhm.
Anybody and everybody is susceptible, and because it's a very profitable industry, it's only growing. So you can't stop it. It's a matter of once you realize that there's something weird on your network, or you're getting something weird. That's where LifeLock is important, because they're going to send you alerts. Hey, was this you? Hey, was this you? Right? And you're going to respond. So what you're doing is you're limiting your risk. So it's not a matter of how do you stop it. The question is, once it's identified, how do you best protect yourself, right? Straight across the board, for your business, for your personal stuff. So it's just that, like I said, you have to be very proactive, and you can't take your eyes off the ball, because you can find yourself like John. And I've done the same thing. I clicked on something. As soon as I clicked on it, I realized it was from Microsoft, which is the #1 access gateway that threat actors use. Over, I think it's 300,000 attempts a day come through Microsoft because of how broad their platform is. How many people are using Office 365? So yeah, it's an unfortunate world we live in. That this is what it's come to. So Howard, yeah, it's not how do you stop it. It's just like, how do you stop an electrical fire? Well, you really don't know you have an electrical problem until you have an electrical fire most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Kind of the same analogy.
Yeah, you don't know if you have a problem until you notice thousands of dollars missing from your bank account. But we have an Joe, you there?
Yeah, I'm
Joe
here.
Crean.
Yeah, I'm here.
You want to
Yeah.
jump in on this conversation since you're involved in the credit card business?
Yeah, it's a mess. I've been in POS and credit cards since the late 70s, early 80s, and it's a mess. Fortunately, I refuse to sell anything that's not on a secure cloud base where the data is, where at least the credit card data is tokenized and encrypted. We've had issues. I personally have had issues similar to what you just jumped off the phone had. So it's a mess. What Kevin is saying is very true. the credit card companies are requiring me at my level and the individual merchant at their level to be what they call PCI compliant. And it's become some sort of a money grab for some of these credit card companies. Because sometimes they hope you're not PCI compliant, so they can charge you a PCI non-compliance fee. So they'll charge you a PCI compliant fee of, $7, $8 a month. But if you don't, within 90 days of approval, get your SAQ, your questionnaire completed, and you have your network scanned, then you pay a $30 a month non-compliance fee. Okay, which is pure profit to the credit card companies, another revenue stream. And so it is important that these small merchants, regardless of just a security standpoint, from the fee standpoint, get their system scanned if they're using a web-based system, and if they're on a network, and they complete the little 5-minute questionnaire once a year. Otherwise, even forgetting that what could happen to them with data breaches and everything, they're going to pay another $30 a month in infinity until they get it done. So that's $360 a year.
Question
So
for you.
it's,
How do you scan your system then? Is there software you can buy to do that or what?
Well, the PCI compliance applies to everything, whether you're using a basic credit card terminal, whether you buy, you scan the network. Yeah, Kevin knows more about it than me, but the PCI provider, the company we subscribe to, they will basically just scan the system, scan your network, and make sure that it's at least some sort of foolproof protection in there. I'm sure it's not perfect.
And it's not a once and done, right? Like I'm just able to think through this. So just think if you offer, and I just know this because I just got back from West Virginia and we installed some networks, and some of them will have a public Wi-Fi. Some of them will have it where their employees can access Wi-Fi. And if they don't set up what we call a VLAN, but they just kind of have a general, just every time somebody comes into your store, every time an employee comes in the next morning, if they had their Wi-Fi, their phone connected to, a network and something, the exposure is just, immense. So you do have to be very, very diligent about it. And so it depends, I guess, and I don't know every specific detail to every different industry. But when we do a threat analysis, we don't directly do it. We have a partner that does it. So sometimes you're just going to pay for it and to have it done. I'm sure there probably are software tools, as Joe alluded to, that we're just not aware of because it's not what we do. But it's just, again, something that you've got to be very diligent about. And because you work really hard to have a successful business, and it can be destroyed in a matter of 2 or 3 seconds of just because you're busy and you're in the middle of doing 4 different things, and it looks like it's the same, and it's not. And that's when you sometimes you just don't realize it until you get it. You look at your account. I know you can no longer access something that you could access before. So I just can't overemphasize the importance of making sure you're protected in today's culture. It's only going to get worse. That's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, it's, I'll give you an example. I mean, I have some large accounts, $500,000 a month, $1 million a month, but the bulk of my business is small restaurants, small businesses. They're 25, 30, 40,000 a month. That's the bulk of my business. I just did an install, and if you live here locally, the Festival Flea Market, right in Pompano Beach, in their food court, little fast food place. And the Festival Flea Market has their own public Wi-Fi and their own Wi-Fi just for the vendors in the flea market. Then there's a couple guys in there that are running their POS system off their mobile phone hotspot, which is really insecure, right? Fortunately, the system I sell requires a static IP address, and I don't know anywhere near than what Kevin knows about that. But apparently, a static IP address is much more secure, and it doesn't allow you to be tracked as easily, from the little bit I know about it. But I told my merchant, you can run off this Festival Flea Market Wi-Fi, and it seemed pretty secure. We have a static IP address, but a number of the vendors there, finally, they're putting their own network in it. So you need to put your own router in there. Put your own router in there, so it goes to their network from your router, not directly from the terminal, to their network. And so she did that, but there's that's a flea market of like, I don't know, a couple hundred vendors and then a food court, and everybody's selling everything under the sun. And most of them are using Wi-Fi or IP-based POS systems, which easily could be hacked. But fortunately, the system we sell, Clover from First Data, credit card data is tokenized, so you never see the credit card number on the receipt or in the transaction records. It's scrambled, it's encrypted. All right, but that doesn't mean somebody still can't get into it. But it requires a static IP address, and it won't allow you to do a credit card sale until you get that. But it is a big problem, and I'm sure somebody will figure it out. But but on the other hand, this whole compliance thing has become a big industry. It's a lot of extra fees for the merchant. And like I said, if they don't perform their little 15-minute scan and answer their online questionnaire once a year, they're going to pay an extra $300, $400 a year for the privilege of not doing that.
That PCI compliant that you're talking about, how do they notify you? They send you an email, or they send it to you in the mail?
Both. Usually email.
Yeah, because I've been getting those emails and thinking that it's possibly a scam.
That's true. I guess it could, but normally most of the processors, including my company, we send a welcome package in the mail. But now the welcome packages are delivered by email, and we're trying to get the girls in my office to follow up with the merchants within 90 days of installation to remind them to do it. But the bottom line is it's their responsibility to get it done. And when they're complaining about their rates and they don't get the SAQ done, the self-assessment questionnaire done, and they're paying an extra $30 a month. Some people are charging $50 a month for it. So to be compliant is only about $7 to $10 a month. To be non-compliant could be $30, $40 a month. All right. On top of, the issues of being prone to the theft, the cyber theft. Yeah, I mean, if any of you take credit cards, I suggest you look at your statement. You'll see, the miscellaneous fees on the last page, statement fee. You'll see a PCI compliance fee, and hopefully you won't see a PCI non-compliance fee on there. But if you do, that's what's happening.
So, real quick. So what Joe mentioned. So the difference, it's not the static or there's you either have what we call static or dynamic. But what, I don't know if you guys are familiar, you use VPNs, right? So what they do, I have it on my devices. Let's see if I can get this on my phone. Yeah. So you can see here, hopefully there's a glare.
Yeah.
It's called a virtual private network, right? And so what that does is it masks your IP address.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really what you want to do, because that's how everything is activated. So the VPN, you just click it, it's always on. You should have it on every device you have. So it like mine right now says I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. It has an IP address. So if somebody's going to track the IP address, it's not going to end up on my device. Now, again, hackers, they're always trying to be a step ahead of technology, right? But that's still one sure way of increasing you from not being hacked, is because it's all IP address based. And so I would encourage, and again, it's a fee you're going to pay. It's a nominal fee, but every device you have, I mean, Apple says it's on, that they kind of provide something similar, but it's not the same. So every device you have that's accessing the internet, you should have some type of VPN protection on your phone. Like ABG is who we recommend all of our customers. You pay them. We don't even make any money on this. So it's something that you should be doing. And there's other sources that are out there. I mean, I use a Cameo, KAMO, for my devices in the office. So that's something that all of you guys who hear this should be at least at a minimum doing, putting on your kids' devices, things of that nature.
Well, I want to thank you all for jumping in with no notice, with the information that you have. And that's a great example about how this group and works and can help anybody in the industry. One of our members had a problem, brought it up, and people in the group were able to to supply information that's very important. I always go back to when we were meeting in person prior to COVID. One of our members was a consultant, and she had a program or something that she called the hot seat. And if somebody from the group had a problem, they could take the hot seat, tell us what the problem was, and people in the group would try to help and solve that problem. And it worked very well. The few times that we did it, it was really interesting, because you'd be amazed how much information, we we're sort of like pigeonholed in what we do, but we really have a lot of information in a lot of different areas, a lot of life experience, and we can help our members and people who are watching. So, thanks for jumping in. And now I want to let everybody know who we are. So, Kevin, I'm going to ask you to do your intro first.
Yeah, again, Kevin Amiser, company is Propel You Forward. And to summarize what we do, we help you win. We look at, we work in the technology sector, digital transformation, cybersecurity. But whether it's people, processes, product, marketing, sales, we try to provide outcomes that make your business more efficient and more profitable. Things that you don't maybe have the time, the technology, or the expertise to do. It's what we do, and we love seeing you win.
Okay. Thank you. Joe Cregan.
Yeah,
Thanks
good
for your
morning.
input as well.
Yeah, Joe Cregan with Card Payment Services. I'm based just west of Fort Lauderdale Airport in Davie, Florida. My website is www.cardpaymentservices.net. My phone number is 954-635-5044. And like the name says, I set up merchants to process payments. I've been doing it for ages here. And I support about 750 merchants currently right now, with well over 1,000 before COVID. But we're getting back in the swing of things. And about 50% of our merchants are leased for restaurants here in Florida. I have myself in South Florida, another rep in Orlando, and covering Tampa, Orlando. And we sell Clover POS systems, First Data, now Fiserv payment processing. And we also have a small business as a reseller with ADP Payroll. So we provide the POS system, which is your time clock, and we provide the services and earn recurring revenue off your payment processing and payroll processing. So that's what we do.
Okay, thank you. Rick, good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Rick Israel with Affiliated Health Insurers, doing business as the Israel Agency. We are based in Huntsville, Alabama, but we are licensed also in the state of Florida. We do help individuals with the Affordable Care Act, group plans, which I'm starting to get my feet wet on. And also, if you are an individual that is needing to get some assistance with Medicare, that is our main niche. We help you guide through that Medicare maze. My information will be on the email that Howard sent out, but the best way to reach me is area code 256-698-8774. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ed Gerton with Seco Sales, located in Orange Park, Florida. We're an equipment supply company that specializes in frozen dessert equipment. So we represent Carpigiani, which would be batch freezers, soft serve machines, whipped cream machines, equipment for kitchens to allow chefs to make consistent products such as bases, simple syrups, and pastry doughs. We represent ISA, which would be display cases, Carpigiani Horeca, which would be frozen dessert, frozen drink machines. You can reach me at 904-334-4489. Have a good day.
Thank you. Brian, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Brian with Rogue Financial Group. We're a commercial equipment financing company. I primarily focus on the hospitality industry, but we do other industries. I can finance from startups to existing business, and all different types of equipment, large projects, small projects. Again, Brian with Rogue Financial Group. We are a equipment financing company.
And
44723-7225. 22.
Thank you. Steve Whitehill, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Steve Whitehill. I'm a business broker. I help people buy and sell businesses. And I'm going to give you an example of one today. This is an auto repair shop, which has nothing to do with the restaurant industry, of course. But what is interesting about this, it shows why you need a business broker. You look at this little auto repair business, it's selling for $400,000. And it's making 160,000, and so it seems to be fair price. Then I looked at how many people it employs. It employs 5 full-time, 5 part-time, and 1 manager. Now, what that tells me, given that it has only just under 600,000 in sales, it doesn't earn enough money to employ all those people. So this business is a very high cash business. And when I looked at it, they've got like 7 or 8 bays. So this guy is making much more money than he's declaring. So while some people may overlook it, you know, a good business broker will point out something that has some additional value that you didn't think. Anyway, you can reach me at, call my phone at 561-376-7500. My email address is Steve, STEVE, at anchorbb.com. Thank you, guys.
In other words, he's not trusting the banks.
Well, he's got a big mattress, and I don't know how comfortable it is, but it's worth keeping.
All right. Chris Kaufman, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Chris Kaufman, CHRIS Kaufman and Company is the name of the company. And CHRIS, for those of you who may not be aware of that acronym, which recently won an award from the Acronym Society of America. Clubs, hotels, restaurants, institutions, and sales. Those are the 5 areas where we've made placements since Monday, April the 6th, 1981. And we primarily work on behalf of the companies to find the talent that they want. Now, they might say, well, we'd like to run an ad on Indeed. I encourage them to run an ad on Indeed, run ZipRecruiter, the Yellow Pages, whatever, because that way, if they don't find who they want or who they really want to hire, they'll be that much more at ease working with a specialist who has a database, who has connections, who can find them the talent that they need rather quick, and can also bring the talent to them at the price point that they're looking for. Sometimes a client company will use us as a little bit of a survey on how much they should be paying somebody, because since COVID and all the gyrations we went through with COVID, the closing of restaurants, the opening of restaurants, the merging and the purging, and people leaving the business, people not continuing in the business, et cetera, the salaries have become very, very different than they were, say, 3 years ago. What is a job net paying 60 or 65 3 years ago? The same job might have paid 45 to 50, but it's a sign of the times. It's partly supply and demand. And but we work on behalf of the companies to find them the talent they need, the human capital, if you will. And we look for all-star talent. And that's why we have the number 404 all-star, 404-255-7827. And the National Registry of Excellent Telephone Numbers has given us an award for that number. So we're excited about that. That's the news, and thanks for stopping by.
Chris, I have a reader who is looking for a highly qualified chef at the moment. It's not a mom and pop restaurant. It's something. I'm going to send you his information.
All right.
You just give him a call. I'm not guaranteeing that he would, be able to use your services, but I think he's somebody you should talk to.
Mhm.
He's got a lot of connections in the culinary world. So I'll send that to you.
Thank you. You're glad to talk with him. And, a lot of times the first conversation we have may be a situation where we just kind of get to know each other. And then 6 months down the road, they
Right.
remember that, well,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey, Howard, I didn't get my contact info. Let me just do that real quick.
yeah,
So
go ahead.
you can reach out, text or call 734-234-0208. All the social media is just Propel You Forward, PROPEL, the letter U, the number 4, WARD. And our website is propelyouforward.com.
And I am Howard Appel, founder and publisher of Today's Restaurant News since 1996. And we are the, as we say in our tagline, the industry source. And I saw some information recently about the ERC program coming to an end in next year. And I don't know whether that's true or not, but even if it isn't, it's amazing that restaurateurs are not taking a good, long, hard look at getting some of that money from the government. All you have to do is send in information and find out if you qualify. So very short form that you can fill out on our website at trnusa.com, and we'll have somebody give you a call and go through the process with you to see if you qualify. I think you should all take advantage of that, and you can do that at our website at trnusa.com or give us a call at 561-620-8888, as well as if you'd like to come to a meeting or reach any of our members that you weren't able to get their number for, give us a call and we'll help you out. 561-620-8888. I want to thank you all for coming. You know, great impromptu conversation today, and that's what I love about this group. As I said before, we've got so much information to share that it's incredible. So again, thank you all. Have a great week. We'll see you next week back from back in Florida, and have a great weekend.
Okay.
Thank you.